It's June and it's camping month.
And tonight, we're going to Sleepaway Camp. Make sure you stick around after the review, because we're also heading back for another look at the Mahoning Drive-In.
It's intermission. Rise and stretch time. Time to refresh yourself and visit our snack bar. Got a yen for hot popcorn? Your favorite soft drinks are sparkling cold.
Sleepaway Camp is one of those movies that you'd show to an alien if you only had 90 minutes to explain to an extraterrestrial what an 80s slasher was. It borrows heavily from the conventions that Halloween and Friday the 13th had already established, beginning with a tragedy that takes place prior to the main story's time period.
Yeah, and is your old man gonna give me a job when I get fired?
Lighten up, will ya? No one's gonna see us way out here.
Sleepaway Camp came right at the crescendo of the second great cycle of slashers, and this is important because that puts us in 1983. Just a few short years later, by 1987, the culture was beginning to become a parody of itself, and Sleepaway Camp is a perfect example of the type of film that was being parodied. Proving its authenticity cannot be dismissed simply because it followed the genre Kickstarters. It also helped pave the way, making it an authentic horror experience in its time. Contemporary viewers should try and remember this. At its core, Sleepaway Camp is a film about the discomfort of budding sexuality, and subtle hints pepper the film. And because we're well into the great American conservative shift, a lot of this commentary is buried under the camp, pun intended. The simple audiences saw a horror picture that horrified them with their worst heterosexual nightmare, and the smarter ones saw a really brilliant film that induced repeated viewings. Sleepaway Camp is brilliant because it plays like the standard slasher full of gruesome moments while delivering the most brutally honest explanation of how trickle-down economics actually worked.
It's a real shame what happened to Artie in here. In the future, I hope the rest of you be more careful. Ben? Guess that makes you the head man here now, doesn't it?
I wasn't thinking much about myself, Mr. Costick. I just don't see how something like that could happen.
Come on now, Ben. We still got a camp to feed here now, don't we?
Yes, sir.
Besides, $50 more a week can't be all that bad now, can it?
No, sir. Always thought he had a little devil in him.
All right, $15 a week more for the rest of you? Huh?
That's real generous of you, sir.
Contemporary audiences should also keep in mind that yes, these scenes seemed as racist back then as they do now, and that was the point. The goons laughed off all the brutal commentary about society and gender, and the intellectuals ate it up. This is not a film that was produced, written, directed, or acted by incompetent people. Contemporary audiences should also keep in mind that yes, these scenes seemed as homoerotic back then as they do now, and that was the point. The goons laughed off all the brutal commentary about society and gender, and the intellectuals ate it up. This film is actually pretty brilliant, and that says a lot considering it owes a great debt to a much sleepier film, Friday the 13th. The movie takes place at a summer camp, it's a whodunit, and there's even a love triangle. The film also tries to go beat for beat with its predecessor in coming up with gruesome and innovative murder sequences, and it does this only semi-successfully. The effects and their execution are inferior to Savini's, but the scenarios are potentially more outrageous. There's also a pretty awesome Psycho homage. But Sleepaway Camp will forever be remembered for its traumatizing twist ending. Many critics like to look at these films like morality plays, but I see a much clearer allusion to the types of archetypes found in fables and fairy tales in Sleepaway Camp, and this is what makes it far sinister and, in my opinion, far superior to the original Friday the 13th. For this I give Sleepaway Camp a solid 4 slashes, and that's strictly from a cinematic and not historical viewpoint.